So in VLSI fabrication in Fab Labs, when you are fabricating any circuit, how it will be fabricated? Let us say we'll take a circular silicon wafer, and that the different metals will be powered, right? So that powering will be automated process. So that automated process, we need to give some netlist to the machines. So that netlist will be generated by this cadence tool only. I'm telling you, like, if anybody is really interested in this VLSI design, this is the good platform. This VLSI lab is the good platform to exposure to the industry standards. And there is a good featurescope is also there for this cadence lab. Only this VLSI lab is basics, so you need to explore later. I think in order to introduce myself, I already know I'm Manohar. I'm working here in CMRT as a faculty from last 3 years onwards. I have 5 years of teaching experience after my MTech. Whatever I discussed in the syllabus copy, I just summarized here. So take the pointer. So analog design, will, as I told you, we will have 5 circuits. That 5 circuits: inverter, common source amplifier, common drain amplifier, differential amplifier, and op amp. 5 circuits we will check under the analog design. So and here from one circuit to another circuit there is a relationship is there. Inverter means it will have one input and one output, and whereas at same inverter circuit some small modifications, you can get a common source amplifier. So in the common source amplifier, with the small modifications, you will get a common drain amplifier. And differential amplifier, as you know, differential amplifier will have two inputs and one output, or two inputs and two outputs also. But we will design two inputs and one output differential amplifier, two in two inputs and one output differential amplifier we will design. And finally, operational amplifier. Operational amplifier, I can say it is a combination of differential amplifier followed by any good amplifier which will give good gain. So we will use here while we are checking the op amp circuit, we will use common source amplifier. So differential amplifier plus common source amplifier will give you op amp circuits. The only thing is, if the tool flow, if you properly know for the inverter each and every checking in the cadence tool, then it is very easy for you to check rest of the analog circuits. Only thing is you have to properly know what actually you are doing uh, in this analog design part. I'll try to give as much good idea as possible by this end of the lecture today. So please pay attention. All of you, please pay attention in coming 15 to 20 minutes discussion. And it is very really interesting. Yeah, it's so practical. So you can really see each and every outputs, and that can be almost near to the real-time situations. As I mentioned previously, before fabrication, any before fabricating any of your design, you'll first check the design in this cadence tool, and the netlist generated by this cadence tool will be given for fabrication. And cadence tool is very much accepted tool in among the industries. So this is about the analog design. So digital design anyhow, as I mentioned in the syllabus copy. So using Verilog code, some of the digital circuits which are there in the syllabus, we will test in the cadence tool. This is about the syllabus of VLSI lab. So we will now first focus on the analog design, then only we'll go for digital design. So from now onwards, I will discuss about only the analog design. From now onwards, till the analog design completes, we will discuss only on analog design. Digital design we will discuss after the completion of this analog design. So basically in this analog design, we will use NMOS and PMOS transistors. So as you know, the MOSFET, N channel MOSFET is NMOS and P channel MOSFET is the PMOS, right? So MOSFET is a four terminal device. What are the terminal names? Can anybody can give a comment?
Source gate would
Source. What
Source,
are those four terminals name?
body.
Source, drain, gate, and body.
Source, drain, gate, and body,
body.
right? Some of them are calling this body as substrate also, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
the same body is called as substrate, right? So you are familiarized with the circuit symbol, I guess. So you have a different circuit symbols for MOSFET, right? I think you have a clarity about it. I know to mention again, giving the clarity about the circuit symbol. So this circuit symbol is showing the current direction at the substrate, right? So see here. So the arrow direction shown at the substrate. This is one way of representing the MOSFET symbol, right? So this is PMOS and this is NMOS. And please note, you may ask, sir, you're saying four terminals, but here three terminals what I'm seeing. So generally the MOSFET is available. The substrate or body is always connected to source. Available, the MOSFET is available as the substrate is always connected to source. But if you want, like some of the components also are available as a four terminal device. But in actual, MOSFET is a four terminal device, but practically it is available as three terminal device. The substrate is this. See here, this is the substrate is always connected to the source. So this is one way of representing the MOSFET symbol, showing the arrow direction at the substrate. So another way of representing that I am directly considering from the cadence tool itself. So this is another way, mentioning the current direction between source and gate, mentioning the current direction. So you see PMOS, the substrate you see, substrate is connected to source. So PMOS, the current direction is like this. So in the same way, you just see some terminologies here. So this is the transistor name, and this is the, let us say if you want more than one PMOS, so you will give the naming convention. This PM0, PM0 is one PMOS. If you use one more PMOS transistor, that will have a number of PMOS 1. Like that, if you use 10 PMOS in your design, so that is PM0, PM1, PM2, like that, like that. And your MOS transistor will have channel will have width and some length, right? Some width and some length. So this PMOS transistor will have width of 7 micrometer and length of 180 nanometer. 180 nanometer. This L represents the 180 nanometer. The same way NMOS, you just see the arrow direction is always mentioned between gate and source. You just see. So when connecting in the circuit, PMOS substrate will be above. That also we will discuss why substrate is above for PMOS, why drain is above for NMOS. We will discuss about that. Same. Remember a blind rule. The substrate is, whether it is PMOS or NMOS, the substrate is always connected to source. The substrate is always connected to source. So these are the two different ways. So this is one way of representing the MOSFET symbol. This is one more way of representing, but we will use this only always. So I'm just giving the clarity now. Try to remember these symbols only as a MOSFET symbols. You may see in some of the MOSFET symbols have some discontinuity here and here, right? I think you know the difference between what is depletion type MOSFET and enhancement type MOSFET. I'm not mentioning on that specifically, but we don't use in our designs the enhancement type. means discontinuity will be there. As you see here, continuity is there between drain and source. This is depletion type MOSFET. Depletion type means always permanent channel is there between source and drain. Always permanent channel is there between source and drain. So that is depletion type MOSFET. So when you are verifying any of the circuit in the analog design, we will use only depletion type MOSFETs. So we are not using enhancement type MOSFETs while we are learning in this VLSI lab. There is no blind rule that you need to use only this, but it is better if you follow one type of transistor. So we are following depletion type MOSFET. So we will always follow this. So if you go a little bit more details inside to the MOSFET, what I am telling, the length of the channel is from source here to from here to here, right? That is the length. So in our VLSI lab, we are working in the 180 nanometer technology, means the MOSFET transistor channel length is 180 nanometer. This length is 180 nanometer. As you know, the latest processors which you are using in your mobile phones is of 14 nanometer or 8 nanometer, even 7 nanometer, right? So that much technological advancement is there. So I can say this is more practical subject, right? So we try to understand what is actually that, all those things in this lab. So this is that 180 nanometer. The length of the channel is 180 nanometer. Remember, whichever transistor you are using in the analog design, try to always put the length of the transistor as 180 nanometer, because we are working on the 180 nanometer technology. So 180 nanometer technology, you need to use the maximum power supply, VDD. VDD is 1.8 volts. So remember these two. These two are very important in your analog design. So maximum power supply you need to apply in your analog design. As you are working on 180 nanometer technology, you need to apply only 1.8 volts as a maximum VDD supply. Fine. So this much details is enough to proceed to the your analog designs. So we are using Cadence. Cadence will have different tools. In that we are using Virtuoso. Virtuoso. You just see the name here. So Virtuoso. Virtuoso is the tool we are using in the Cadence. So analog design. So some of the elaborations, if you see, so DRC means design rule check. ERC means electric rule check. LVS means layout versus schematic. So we'll see first design, that is CMOS inverter. So if you see the syllabus copy, so this is there in the syllabus copy, right? Design inverter, given specifications, completing the design flow mentioned below. So first we need to draw the schematic, verify that schematic with the help of DC analysis and transient analysis. So after verifying, if this your inverter design is verified with the help of these two, you have to go for next layout. Layout means you just understand, you just powering a material on a substrate. So if you equivalent layout you will draw and verify that layout, whether the layout is correct or not with the help of DRC, ERC and LVS. What is DRC? Can anybody repeat what is DRC? Are you there in the class?
Design rule check.
Yeah, DRC is design rule check and ERC is
Electric rule check.
yeah, electric rule check, and LVS is
Layout versus schematic.
layouts versus schematic. That's very nice answers from you all. And also extract RC annotation we will see, but we will just try to ignore this, but wherever is possible we will try to see this also, but most probably for any design all these things we will verify. So to do this, what procedure we are following in this analog design we will see in the next slide. So remember, when you are checking any design, let us say inverter, we need to draw two schematics. So shown here, two schematics shown here. Please pay attention for this, especially this slide. This slide is very important. How we will do the design checking in this analog design. So first you need to understand the design of that particular circuit. So means this inverter, let us take an example of inverter, how this inverter circuit will work and what are the design parameters behind this. We'll try to first understand that. Once after the understanding that, we'll go to the cadence tool. So we'll draw your design circuit using the schematic editor. Using the schematic editor, we'll draw your design circuit in the cadence tool. So that is the your first schematic. That is your first schematic. After drawing all your circuit, you will save the circuit, and once you save the circuit, you have to verify the circuit, right? So to verify your circuit, you will create a symbol of your circuit. Let us say inverter circuit. I'll try to move on to just I'll show the inverter circuit and come back here again. I think you most of us are known this. This is the inverter circuit, right? So this is the inverter circuit. So for that inverter circuit, I'll try to create a symbol, and I'll once the symbol is created, with the help of symbol only, I can check my design. It is a easy process, I can say. It is a easy process with the help of symbol. If you try to check it, let us say you design the inverter circuit. For that, if you given some spare box, if you want more number of like that inverters, it is easy for you. Let us say any design is using 10 inverters. So you can take such 10 boxes and you can easily design instead of connecting 20 transistors, means 10 NMOS and 10 PMOS, instead of connecting 10 PMOS and 10 NMOS transistors in a schematic window, you will simply design one inverter. You create a symbol for that. So for that symbol, you take 10 of that. So it is easy for you to design any design, right? So like that, the complexity can be avoided. So whatever the procedure I'm telling is somehow easy way in execution of in the cadence tool. So you will create a symbol for your design. Once you created a symbol, now you will take one more schematic window, not in this schematic one window. So this is schematic one. Once your design is properly connected and you will close that properly connected and saved, then you will close that window. Then you'll create a symbol for your design circuit, and also you will close that window also. Now you will open one more schematic window, that is schematic 2. In the schematic 2 window, you will check your design. So to check your design, whatever the proper power supplies are needed, you will connect accordingly. So connect symbol in a separate window and test it. So with the help of what I will test in the cadence tool, you will use the ADE tool to simulate your design. To simulate your design means waveforms, right? Simulation means you will get a waveforms. So you will get some waveforms. So whether that waveforms are means whatever the output is coming here, we will check these waveforms with your designed waveforms. So these two has to match. Whatever your expected waveforms here at the design has to match with whatever the waveforms you are getting here. So once your design you felt that it is proper, now we will go to again schematic 1 window. Now we will go to again schematic 1 window. So once schematic 1 window, you will run layout editor. You will run layout editor. It will create you layout. So you properly draw the layout. Once the layout is properly drawn, then you will check with the help of this DRC, LVS, and AV extractor whether your layout is proper or not. Once with the help of all this is checked, your design is ready to convert it to netlist. So this is the design flow we will follow in this analog design. So anybody have any doubt here till here? I'm just summarizing here. If you want in the end also, after explaining the tool flow also, we'll come back to this slide once again if you want. So CMOS inverter, we will see now. So following that procedure, first we need to understand the design of the CMOS inverter. So this is the CMOS inverter circuit, right? So in that, this is PMOS. How the PMOS has to be converted? Can anybody have any idea how the PMOS has to be converted, where the PMOS source has to be connected, where the NMOS source has to be connected? Any ground rules are there?
One should be given to VDD and one should be grounded.
So PMOS source has to be connected to VDD, right? So PMOS, let us first talk about PMOS body or substrate, right? Substrate has to be connected to always VDD or source, right? This VDD I can say it is source. Try to remember substrate source. Whichever substrate it is, it has to be connected to source. So this substrate is connected to source, right? Same way, this substrate is connected to source. So this is talks about first point. Second one, PMOS source has to be connected to VDD and NMOS source has to be connected to ground. And both the transistor gates has to be connected to shorted and connected to one input like this. So it will have one input and one output. So what is the operation of this CMOS inverter? If we give, what is the operation of this? Yeah, if I apply V in equal to 1, what is the output of output V naught?
0.
0, right? The same way if I apply low 1, can anybody tell for one case what happens to PMOS and NMOS? If V in equal to 1 is given, what happens to PMOS? PMOS will be on or off?
Off.
PMOS will be off, right? If you give 1, PMOS will be off, NMOS will be on, means acts as a short circuit. So this ground is connected at the output, so that's why you're getting output 0. Same way for 0 case. So that is the operation anyhow in brief. As I'm assuming some of the points when I'm explaining, some of the points you already know. I'm just briefly touching upon it. If you have any doubts, please interrupt me and ask. So this is the drain current in an NMOS transistor, right? Drain current equation in an NMOS transistor. So as I told you now, design. So I want you just observe here. So this is the, let me erase the, so this is the current, right? So this is drain current of PMOS. The same way, this is the drain current of NMOS, right? So from this connection mechanism, you clearly understood the IDN. The drain current flowing in NMOS has to be equal to IDP, right? Both has to be equal. But we will try to see whether this is possible with the help of equations or not. You have to see, right? But as per my connection mechanism, if you want that proper switching, this I were saying off and on. When you are applying 0, this is on and off. If you apply 1, this is off and on. Whether that proper switching to be happen, this current has to be proper, right? Proper meaning IDN equal to IDP. So this is the IDN equation. In the same way, IDP also will come. Only thing is this WL ratio and MIP will change. So this is IDP equal to mu P Cox by 2 multiplied by, I am commoning this N here instead of writing WP and LP, I am commonly writing W by L ratio of your MOSFET followed by P. So this is the WL ratio of PMOS. So this is the WL ratio of NMOS multiplied by VGS minus VT whole square. So I'll substitute in this equation 1, these two. So you'll get what? So this common term will cancel each other, right? These two will cancel each other. And I am assuming this VGS minus VT square in NMOS and these two quantities are same. I am assuming that, then only I can cancel this each other. This is actually generally not equal, but I am just assuming these two quantities are equal I am cancelling these two quantities. So what is remaining? If I from this equation, what is remaining? Mu n
mu n
W by L of n equal to mu p W by L of p, right? So you just now tell me, to make the drain currents in NMOS and PMOS to be equal, what modifications I need to do in this equation? What modifications I need to do in this equation? Will the mu and mu p are same? This
No,
equation to satisfy, what I need to do? This equation to satisfy, what I need to do?
W
Sooner
by
or
L.
later,
W1 and WP we have to vary, sir.
yeah.
W by L ratio should be varied.
One second. We need to vary W by L ratios, right? As the mobility of the electron and hole are different. So mu n by, what is the mu n by mu p ratio? Can anybody have, how much is the value? How much is the value? Anybody, any guesses? So the value of this is 2.5. To substitute the mobility of electron and mobility of hole. As you know, mobility of electron is more than the hole. So 2.5. So if we equate here and here, so I will write like this: WP by LP, is it fine, right? Equal to 2.5 multiplied by Wn, where Wn is the width of the channel, where Ln is the length of the NMOS transistor. Width of, Ln is the channel length of the NMOS transistor, where Wn is the channel width of the NMOS transistor. In the same way, Wp is the channel width of the PMOS transistor, Lp is the channel length of the PMOS transistor. As you are working on 180 nanometer technology, so this LP and Ln we cannot change. We need to always fix this as 180 nanometer because you are working in 180 nanometer technology. If you simply change this LP and Ln, means you are working on some other technology. So 180 nanometer technology will support the higher values, that is 1 micro. If you want to work on 1 micro transistor, this 180 nanometer transistor itself will support. But if you want to work on even lower numbers, let us say if you want to work on 90 nanometer, you without simply changing the value in that transistor won't change it to 90 nanometer. So lower values with the 180 nanometer technology transistor won't support it, but higher values it will support. It will support 1 micro also. So you can simply change if you want to work on 1 micro technology transistor, that 180 nanometer technology only change this LP to 1 micro, then you are working on 1 micrometer technology. Fine. So this and this I am cancelling each other. So finally what you will get? Width of the PMOS transistor is equal to 2.5 times width of the NMOS transistor. So this is one design parameter to be remembered. One design parameter to be remembered. Always the width of the PMOS has to be more than the width of the NMOS because the mobility of the electron is more compared to the mobility of the hole. So this is one design parameter. Next design parameter is, if you see the characteristics, can anybody tell what are these characteristics? The name itself is mentioned there. Yeah. These are the transfer characteristics, right? So why the name transfer characteristics? Why the name transfer characteristics? If you draw,
V out and V in.
yeah. One parameter from the output, one parameter from the input, then only we can call it as transfer characteristics, right? If the both these parameters are from input, then the same characteristics are, we call it as input characteristics. So you try to understand this difference. So in coming circuits, you will get a clarity. What are sir is calling with different names, confusing. So to give the clarity, if these two, both the parameters are from input side only, then those are input characteristics. If these two parameters both are from output, only output, then those are output characteristics. Instead, one parameter from the output, one parameter from the input, those characters we call it as transfer characteristic. So this is regards to input, right? This is input. This is the output of your inverter, right? In each NMOS PMOS operation also here it is mentioned. So to check this, to verify the operation of your inverter, we will use DC analysis in the cadence tool to verify the transfer characters of your inverter. In the same way, we will use transient analysis to check the functionality of inverter. Functionality means if you apply 0, you will get 1, right? If you apply 1, you will get 0. So that is the functionality of your inverter. With the help of transient analysis in the cadence tool, we will verify whether your inverter is working properly or not. Yeah, and one more important point is, so these your output and input is intersecting at one point, right? Let us say this is Q point. As per the design, this point always has to be equal to VDD by 2. This, you need to design your inverter such a way that means to proper switching to happen, this point has to be equal to VDD by 2. As I told you, 180 nanometer technology, maximum VDD is 1.8. So 1.8 by 2. So this point has to get the intersection of output and input. You need to get 0.9 volts, or you convert into millivolts, 900 millivolts. So you will check the, this is the second point to be remembered. With the help of DC analysis and transient analysis, you will check the your inverter operation, and in that you need to check your Q point is coming is 900 millivolts or not. So these are the 2 points mainly to be remembered. So for point number 1 is this, and point number 2 is this. These two has to be remembered regarding the inverter design. So these points we will check it out in the cadence tool flow. Now we will see the cadence tool flow. So to understand this cadence tool flow, you need to understand what is actually library means. Library means as you are working on 180 nanometer technology, you need to that 180 nanometer technology transistor to be available, right? So those are all the available in predefined libraries. So examples for predefined libraries are GPDK 180. In this PMOS and NMOS transistors will be there. In this GPDK 180, PMOS and NMOS transistors will be there. And analog library means this is actually, I can say, ideal library it is. What are all the resistors, capacitors, and voltage source, current source, ground, all those things will be there in this analog library. So these are all predefined libraries given by the cadence. We just need to use. In the same way, whatever you are doing in your cadence, you need to work under any library. So whatever you are doing is user defined library. You have to create a user defined library. Any of circuit you are working in the cadence, you need to create one user defined library. Under that library only, you have to keep on connecting the circuits and verifying the circuits. And please note, entire VLSI lab session in this semester, you need to create only one library. It's not that every lab session you need to create a new library. Not like that. You need to create only one library. Under that one library, all the 5 circuits will come. So example for that is this. You will follow the notation that giving your USN as a library name. So whatever I'm going to explain in coming discussions, So those are some of the windows has to be seen. So this PDF anyhow I upload in the Google Classroom. Just see once. So the main window for you is the CDS log window. This is very, very important when you are working in the Cadence. Never ever close this CDS log when you are working in the Cadence tool. If you close this, entire tool will close. And library manager to easily open your files, your already created files. So with the help of library manager, you will open. So as I told you, libraries, analog library, you just have a look of this PDF once. Anyhow, this whatever is there in this PDF, I am going to explain now. Whatever is there in this PDF, what all need to be read, what all need to be just skipped and skimmed. All I mentioned in the PDF itself. You just have a look once.